Hello everyone, welcome to the Next Jem. Today we're going to be talking about the Daftoys 1/6 scale figure Bane. So it's just technically Daftoys made only the clothing set and the body is by Tbleague. It's an M35. But recently I watched The Dark Knight Rises again and I thought maybe I should have a Bane in my collection because I do have the DX12. And I thought Bane would look really cool next to it. And I know they're coming out with another Batman, and I'm probably going to sell my DX12 to get that one. But that's another video for another time. So, I've never had the Hot Toys version of Bane. And don't get me wrong, it still looks good in my opinion. But when I saw reviews of this version, of this Daftoys version, I knew this was the one I wanted to get. But unfortunately, I had a hard time finding this clothing set specifically. I actually had to find someone on Facebook selling. I'm not going to mention the person's name, just in case, they didn't want to be mentioned. But luckily, I was able to find someone selling it on Facebook, at least for a pretty decent price. And I picked up the body from 1/6 Kit. I am not sponsored by them, by the way. I'm just letting you know where I got it from. Picked up the Tbleague, Phicen M35 body. I think it fits really well, but we're going to go into that a little bit more in the video. But before we get more into the figure, let's jump into some of the accessories. Alright, first of all, let's take a look at some of the accessories. Let's start off with the hands. So you can see that we actually have the relaxed hands on him right now. And he comes with a couple other pairs of hands. He comes with the open hand, a little bit more aggressive, that you could put on him. So these are the ones that come with the Daftoys set. This isn't the ones that came with the body. I actually didn't really like those, the ones that came with the M35. They're a little bit too dark, in my opinion. The color is really good. I think it fits perfectly. You can see on the body itself. So it comes with those open hands. Comes with a pair of fists. Definitely need these. Can't punch Batman without clenching a fist. And then you got one kind of holding hand, I would say. Not exactly the best. I guess it's meant to be holding the broken Batman mask that I'll show in a little bit. And the Harvey Dent picture, but yeah, you only get one of these, so you don't get a right-handed version. If you were wondering, yeah, this is what basically all the hands it comes with. Not many, but with Bane you don't need that much. For me, this is what I would consider the base, very basic Bane that you would have. Basically, you got his pants, you got his vest, I guess, what would this be, belt? Waist belt of some sort. And then his little gauntlet thing here. So, and then his boots, of course. So I would consider this, the base model of Bane, and the rest to be accessories. But I know many people, at least for me, I would pose him just with this, because you got to show off the body. But he also comes with the jacket that he wears throughout the movie, giving his speech. Also in the football stadium. It has some nice weathering detail on there. For me, it doesn't feel the best. I feel like in the movie, it was actually more of a suede material. It didn't have this glossiness to it. But from afar, you get that weathering effect. So I think that's really nice. You get some little buttons over there. A little bit of a wool lining in here. And I hope that this doesn't stain. Let me see. The body itself, because there is this kind of a black or a darkish material on the inside of the sleeves. And if you've ever had like dark clothing on a figure before, they can the dye can transfer from the clothing to either the head sculpt or the body, and that's a big no-no, especially when you have a character that needs the seamless arms like Bane. And speaking of that, there's this dark t-shirt. It's almost like a very, very dark brown. It's nice. It's really nice, actually. I'm pretty sure he uses this in the final battle when it's snowing during the daylight, and Bane uses this. Technically, he wears a long sleeve shirt in the beginning of the movie on that airplane scene, but that was different because it didn't have this V-neck cut to it. So I'm pretty sure this is the one he would be using at the end of the movie. So it's slightly brown. I'm a little bit worried that this dye, more specifically this one over the jacket, this one will transfer onto the body. So I'll let you guys know, especially months down the line, if I put this on or if I have any problems with this Daftoys Bane, I'll definitely keep an eye out. Maybe I'll even do a follow-up video if I encounter any problems with this figure. It also comes with the broken Batman mask, so you can see all of the detail on there. That's really nice. And it's almost like the water droplets from, I guess it was like this waterfall, the sewer water, when he pulls it off of Bruce Wayne's face. So that's really cool. He also comes with another leather gauntlet. So in this version, so here's this version with the finger that you can kind of put it through, or you can put the thumb through the hole of the gauntlet. And in this version, there is no hole. Yeah, so there is no hole on this version of the gauntlet. That's because this version of the gauntlet is made for, I think, fists. I guess you can use it with the other ones too, but I think it's primarily for the fists, since you can't get the thumb into the gauntlet in that one. But pretty much in all the other hands, you can put the thumb through the leather gauntlet. For his last accessory, you get a picture of Harvey Dent when he uses it to give his little speech. It's not the most high def picture of Harvey Dent. What would be cool is if he actually came with two pictures, one where it is whole and one where it's torn because he actually tears it in half, makes him Two-Face. But this is pretty cool, especially if you're going to be displaying him with the jacket, holding this picture up. Maybe even if you have one of the camo tumblers that Hot Toys have made, that would be cool. Alright, that's it for the rest of the accessories. Let's take a look at the rest of the figure. Okay, so I got Bane here in a standard museum pose just to see just how massive he is. And the clothing set is really well tailored. Oh, that's one thing I forgot. Accessories, he actually does come with his own base with that little metal grate thing. Let me show that real quick, actually. I'm just glad that they included a base in general. In these third-party companies, they usually don't include a base, and just the fact that they put Bane on the base too it's pretty huge for a third-party company. That's the base. Just lucky to have one. But here is Bane. Very cool, very imposing. I mean, yeah, the head sculpt is basically just the recast of the Hot Toys version. I've seen videos where they compare the two. Unfortunately, I've never had the Hot Toys version before, but the detail on the mask isn't as sharp as the Hot Toys version. But just look at that. That's pretty awesome. You can tell that's Tom Hardy. I wish there was a more updated version, because I feel like this is maybe 85% likeness in the eyes. I would wish it would be a little bit better, but considering the price point, you can't really beat it. And it's a third-party company. The Hot Toys version, their clothing set really fit, I guess, like the gang hood body or whatever muscular body they were using. But this body is basically tailored for the M34 and M35. I went for the M35 because it was a little bit bigger, and yeah, it's definitely not movie accurate. If I just turn him to the side, that is not very accurate to the movie. He wasn't this ripped. He was big, but he wasn't super ripped either. Like, look at all the back muscles on this beast. So yeah, the body isn't very accurate, but this is the kind of the Bane look I wanted. If you're into that, if you're into, I guess, a bigger Bane with, I guess, seamless arms and all that stuff, I would recommend picking up the M35 for this. I did put the gang hood muscular body on this clothing set, and I have to say it looked okay at first. It looked okay. The pants looked pretty baggy. If I have to say, if you're looking at the gang hood body versus this body, yes, the gang hood, it basically has seams, and you can pose it however much you want, and you can leave it in that pose for months on end, and you don't have to worry about the joints. With this, yes, you have to worry about that. However, this clothing set is specifically tailored for this body, and I think it just fits so well. The pants were a little bit baggy on the gang hood version. That was my main complaint. And if you do have the gang hood version of the body, muscular body, they're pretty much the same height too, if you're wondering. I know that there are going to be people who ask, I don't want to use the M35. It has the seamless arms and they're just going to crack over time. They're probably right, but the gang hood is an option. If you have the Daftoys clothing set, I'm just going to say it is an option, but just keep in mind that I think it's mostly tailored for this body. So let's go through some of the materials that's on this figure. So that you can see all the detail here on the figure, and it's a little bit weathered here and there. You got the green straps. I guess these little red, they're not tassels. That's weird. But little red strings that go onto his buckles over here. I think these are metal. These metal buckles here on his waistband. Actually, what was kind of hard about putting on these pants on this rubber body was a little bit difficult. So this is a really nice flexible fabric as well. Look at that. So don't push it too much, might break your figure. There's a little bit of cotton behind these little knee pads. You can kind of see. So that gives it a little bit of a lift outside of from his knees. So that's really nice. Unfortunately, we get these boots. There's no cut in the boots. Makes him hard to stand sometimes, since he is a bit of a hefty figure with this metal skeleton body. But they do look nice. The green boots, I don't know if they were green in the movie. Someone needs to tell me about that. I need to double check this. It's a really nice looking figure. Let's turn him around real quick. And unfortunately, we are missing the scar that Bane had in the movie. I'm going to do more close-ups of his head, but there is no scar at the back of his neck or down his back, unfortunately. Let's lift his arms a bit. So here, you got pretty soft materials. So just like the same silver-ish materials. It's not really rubbery, but it's a bit spongy, and I hope it doesn't crack over time. I don't think it will. It's one thing that kind of concerns me, but I don't think it will. That's really nice. You got more weathering across it on the back here. Same straps. This is pretty cool. I'm always afraid of these things kind of breaking. So you got these little buttons, I guess. So, okay. Whew. Took forever. So you got these little clips back here, or buttons. I'm always afraid of breaking these little things. Breaking these little pegs off from here. So, but it holds everything nicely together once you finally got it in. Unlike me, once you finally get it in, there you go. You can even hear the little snaps. And so here's his little waistband, how it comes all together. This is pretty tough to put together as well. Mine is missing a couple of the gold buttons. It does come with extra. I don't know where that little baggie went. It's probably somewhere over there. But they do give you extra of these buttons. I am missing one here and over here. So I need to get some of the extra ones and re-glue those. So that's pretty cool. You got pockets everywhere. Very nice. Different shades of like a gray and brown. I think it's a super cool figure. And it fits the body perfectly. Alright, let's take a closer look at the likeness. And just look at this guy. Nice paint details. I'm pretty sure this is just a recast of the Hot Toys version. You can actually see it's not a black headgear, I guess. His little breather mask that relieves the pain. It's actually like this bluish, very dark blue, almost like a navy blue. So you got some paint detail throughout, and it's pretty weathered, especially here in the back. You can actually see a little bit of a black wash that they use throughout the top of the mask to make sure that it looks kind of worn. So I'm pretty sure this is a recast. One easy to tell is you could kind of see that seam running across the middle section on both sides. You won't really see it unless you're looking for it. And when I saw a video on the Hot Toys one, it didn't have this seam, at least not as much. But it's a really nice head. He is a mean guy. And you got that little scar over his right eye over there. So at least you get those little details still. Alright, so we're going to be talking about articulation next. And I have to say, with this body, it's super articulated. But, of course, in the instructions, they say don't push it more than, a regular human can move. And, that's kind of reasonable. So, let's go into the articulation. The head can move up really far back. I don't want to push it too much because I don't want to break his neck. I mean, this guy can break Batman's back, but look how far he can do, like a flying pose if you really wanted to. He can look down really far as well, pretty much all the way down to his chest and all around. So you can get some really cool poses. His shoulder joint can go up a little bit as well, or you can have them slope down. They can go out, back, and forward about that much. Back was about this much as well. So I don't want to push it too much, don't want to rip anything. But you can do that iconic pose if you wanted to for Bane, where he's holding his straps. I wouldn't leave it in this pose for an extended periods of time, but if you want to take a quick picture, or even I would say even if you want to leave it in this pose for a few hours or so, maybe not a whole day, but you could have his elbows bent all the way forward to hold his straps. That's a crappy Bane pose, but as you can see, I'm kind of scared of either the elbow popping out of the back or just the rubber kind of sticking together. And I have to say, the rubber is kind of a dust magnet as well. I kind of just left it here for about a day or so, and let's see if I can, you kind of see the dust particles a little bit on his arm. It's okay, Bane's not the cleanest guy. He came from a pit. So alright, let's get back to the articulation. He could bend it forward that much. I'm pretty sure he can go a little bit more, but it hinders a little bit from the clothing. He can look back kind of far. I think there's a movement point here at the waist and here at the torso. So that's really cool. You could, this is one of my favorite poses from Bane. You can do the arms wide open Bane. Unfortunately, with the body that I got, it's pretty stiff when I turn. Oh yeah, you can turn here at the elbow, but this side is super stiff. I like that. However, on this side, mine is a bit loose. I'm not gonna contact them to replace it or anything. It kind of sucks that both sides aren't the same. Here at the waist, his legs can go up about that much because of I think the clothing's restricting it a bit. It can go back pretty far. It can bend about that much. And then you got, I guess you can pivot these or swivel these around, but no really up and down movement here at the feet because of the solid boot design. So yeah, that's the articulation. The articulation is super good for this Bane figure. You can pretty much put him in any pose that you could think of. Just the question is how long can you put him in that pose with that body? That's only what time can tell. Okay, so here's a bit of a size comparison next to the DX12 Batman, and these two guys I think fit perfectly together. I think Christian Bale's about 6 foot tall in real life. I think Tom Hardy's a little bit shorter, but in terms of the figures, I think Bane is still actually a little bit shorter with this body. They're on no bases or anything. This is the DX12 next to him, and they just look awesome together, I think. This Bane is probably too muscular, but I think it's a bit comical. When I mean comical, I mean more like comic-like, I guess. To the Bane in the comics, this Bane can definitely break this Batman's back. That's for sure, because look how huge this guy is, at least in width. He doesn't really exactly have the height. Bane is still slightly shorter than the DX12 in the M35 body. You could put some ankle extenders to make him a little bit taller if you want an even bigger Bane. As like this, I kind of like this. It's a little bit more representative of the movie. Just in poses, when you can pose these two guys together, that's the way to go. So let me get DX12 out of here and compare with the Ben Affleck Batman really quick, because I know if you don't have a DX12 or a Christian Bale Batman, but you have a Ben Affleck Batman, sit him down right there. Ben Affleck's Batman is freaking huge. I think I have him hunching over a little bit, but he is huge. It's like in real life, he looks like he can, I don't know, man. I mean, Bane's big, but yeah, he kind of just towers over a little bit. This is probably like real life Tom Hardy and Ben Affleck right here. But yeah, so you're not going to exactly want to have these two posed together. I think the DX12 fits more in scale with this size of Bane. But you can, I guess, if you want to put him on a higher stand, then you could. So yeah, next to the Justice League Batman. Alright, in conclusion, this Daftoys Bane is really good. The tailoring, they recreated the Bane costume really well. It fits the M35 body perfectly. And if you don't have a Hot Toys Bane or anything, I would recommend trying to look for this guy. If you can want to piece together your own Bane, I think this is the one to get. I know the body isn't completely movie accurate, but it just has a presence about it on the shelf. It's definitely the Bane for me. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments down below. And if Hot Toys were to redo a Bane, I don't know, this one would be kind of hard to top. They would definitely need to make the likeness a little bit better, closer to maybe more detail in the eyes, more of a Bane expression. But other than that, I mean, they would probably need to include the stock exchange outfit, just kind of redo the tailoring. But this figure is really good. If you don't have a Bane yet, definitely try to find your own Daftoys Bane if you're interested. And this will fit really nice in your Dark Knight Rises collection. I know it will definitely go really nice once we finally get that DX19 Batman. You know, like 2 years from now. Anyway, guys, it's been fun, and I'll see you guys next time in the next review.